Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. As temperatures drop, local warming centers are opening the door. Where to go if you need a safe, warm place to escape the cold.
A secretive U.S. operation is taking flight over Mexico.
Plus, questions mount after a young girl's death amid bullying claims. What investigators are saying.
Well, the wind and the cold are definitely here right now. We're already at freezing, so 32 degrees right about now with an 18-mile-an-hour wind makes it feel like 20. So you can imagine when the temperature drops to 25 tonight, what it's going to feel like. So it's time to take care of everything that's important to you because it's going to be a very cold night in the Crossroads. We'll talk more about it coming up in a moment.
And what teams are standing out in both men's and women's soccer? Find out that answer coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker. This is an alert day. The latest cold front hits the Crossroads.
Let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez with a first look at the frigid forecast. Mac.
Thank you very much. Well, the wind was a huge problem this morning. It had a peak wind gust of 40 miles an hour. Right now, we're still in the 20 to 30 mile an hour range. So here's future winds, which will be occurring tonight. You can see everything continues out of the north. It'll be fairly breezy, but there's one slight hope that it'll drop down to less than 25 miles an hour, but it is still going to be rather blustery all the way through. Now tomorrow temperatures are going to be on the cold side. We've got pretty much the entire central part of the country in this deep freeze. In fact, it went all the way from our area south below the valley into northern Mexico. These temperatures will bottom out tonight, then slowly we'll warm up as we get to the weekend. We'll be talking about that and the potential for any precipitation. All that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Warming centers are open for those needing a place to get out of the cold, and there are options to keep you warm.
25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley joins us with more. Ray?
Yes, Shawna and Don, the Salvation Army and First United Methodist Church are now open as shelters for those without heat or a place to stay. Anyone in need of warmth or shelter can go to either location for assistance. The Salvation Army Life Enrichment Center and First United Methodist Church are opening their doors to welcome those who need shelter. They'll be open Wednesday night and Thursday night from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. United Methodist Church Pastor Sylvia Halfacre wants people to be safe and encourages any and everyone to stop by.
I hope that we will be full. I hope that everybody who needs this shelter will be here. I think sometimes people think cold is not that dangerous, but it can be dangerous. And I want all of our neighbors to be safe when it's cold.
Halfacre says people should care about others and felt compelled to open the shelter. Salvation Army officer Captain Kenny Jones believes having multiple shuttles ready will help people get from one place to another. He'll keep the enrichment center open as he deems necessary.
It's very important that we have these shuttles set up to where the community that doesn't have a car, doesn't have a place to stay, has a warm transportation to wherever they need to get.
Whichever shelter you choose, you'll be provided with food, water, and a volunteer to serve you in this weather.
I just want them to know that they are welcome. Everybody is welcome who needs shelter.
The centers are also in need of volunteers through Friday morning. For more information, you can call the number for the Homeless Coalition of the Golden Crescent at 361-433-5388. Again, that's 361-433-5388. Shawna, Don, back to you.
Ray, thank you. And the city of Cuero opened a warming shelter. It's at the Cuero Municipal Library, 207 East Main Street. The shelter will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thursday and Friday.
Officials confirmed that the transit bus involved in yesterday's crash was not part of the city's transit service. It's operated by the Golden Crescent Regional Planning Commission. That crash happened mid-afternoon in the 2500 block of North Lawrence Street. Investigators say the bus stopped in the outside northbound lane to pick up or drop off passengers when a driver in a vehicle coming up from behind failed to slow down and hit the back of the bus. The impact led to a second crash involving another vehicle. Just 2 elderly passengers were on board at the time. No one was hurt and no citations were issued.
The Victoria ISD Board of Trustees meets tomorrow evening. Included on the agenda are a career and technology education presentation, a public hearing on the district's academic performance report, approving the academic calendar for next school year, and a Level 3 grievance hearing. The meeting starts at 6 p.m. at the District Administration Building at 102 Prophet Drive.
School police in Gainesville, Texas are investigating the death of an 11-year-old girl after her family says she was bullied over her immigration status. 11-year-old Jocelyn Rojo Carranza died on February 8th. Jocelyn's mother says she was taunted at school by fellow students who insulted her and claimed her family was in the U.S. illegally. She says the students threatened to call immigration services so they could take the girl's parents away and she would be left alone. The mother says the school knew about the bullying but did not tell her. The school district has not acknowledged whether it was aware, saying it cannot release information about specific students or incidents. The family's immigration status is unclear. Governor Greg Abbott said he demanded that the state's education agency investigate a Houston high school whose teachers were accused by a local conservative activist of transitioning a student they were calling by the student's chosen name and pronouns. To read the full Texas Tribune article, visit crossroadstoday.com.
Sources say the CIA is flying covert drone missions into Mexico in order to spy on drug cartels. The missions come as the Trump administration moves to treat transnational drug cartels as terrorist organizations. The drones are not currently armed, but can be equipped with payloads to carry out precision strikes. The Trump administration has notified Congress about the covert flights. The CIA has previously flown surveillance drones to hunt for cartels in Mexico, but did so in partnership with Mexican authorities. But a source says the notifications to Congress made no mention of Mexican partners.
Well, victory tastes like pizza. Congratulations to Annette Soto for winning the Predict the Big Game contest. We hope that you enjoy your Peter Piper pizza. And you could win some Peter Piper pizza if you think you can call this year's Academy Award winners. Step into the spotlight and predict the Oscars for your chance to win a gift card bundle from Peter Piper Pizza. Visit crossroadstoday.com to submit your predictions.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The Seadrift State of Disaster Declaration ends, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department will close bays to crabbing across Calhoun County for the annual crab trap removal. You can read these stories and more at portlavacawave.com.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell to receive alerts. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, a deadly crash at a busy airport adds to travel uncertainty as officials investigate what went wrong.
Also ahead, bank fees, credit reports, and more. What's at stake as the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau stalls?
It's that time of year again. You know what's inside, but you just can't bring yourself to open it. How much could it be this time? Will it break the bank? Or will it be manageable? There's no escaping it. The bill is here. The Property Tax Puzzle, Thursday at 10 p.m. on 25 News Now Extra.
Well, 2 people are confirmed dead after 2 small planes crashed at Arizona's Marana Regional Airport this morning. Marana police say both planes, a Lance Air and a Cessna 172, were occupied when they collided just before 8:30 this morning. Authorities are still trying to figure out how the crash happened, but say the airport does not have a traffic control tower and operates as an uncontrolled field. The NTSB is leading the investigation into the crash. Investigators in Toronto are looking at strong wind and snow as possible factors in Monday's plane crash.
All 80 people aboard survived, though one passenger is still in the hospital after the Delta Airlines plane flipped over after landing.
Today, investigators analyzing this video of the plane crash in Toronto as they search for the exact cause. The Delta Airlines plane flipping over after landing at Toronto's Pearson Airport on Monday.
It happened in an instant, but it lasted an eternity.
80 people on board, all surviving, including Brian Erickson.
We were coming in pretty hot. You know, it seemed like it was a very rough landing, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, we're rolling to the right. What's going on?
The plane taking off from Minneapolis. On approach in Toronto, the landing gear apparently collapsing. The right wing hitting the ground, sparking a wall of fire. The plane rolling over onto its roof, sliding down the runway.
Something went wrong in the last 10 seconds of this flight. We have data that shows that a 1,000 feet per minute descent rate had built up just prior to touchdown. That's about almost twice as what it should have been just prior to touching down.
ABC News obtaining this video from inside the plane. Chaotic moments as passengers rush to get out. People still in their seats, hanging upside down. Officials pointing to weather as a possible factor in the crash. There were wind gusts of up to 40 miles an hour, kicking up snow on the ground.
On Thursday and Sunday, we got more than 20 inches, 50 centimeters of accumulated snow. That is actually not typical.
The Transportation Safety Board of Canada now on the scene.
Other duties we'll be conducting here on site are examining the wreckage, examining the runway. We've already removed the cockpit voice recorder, the flight data recorder, and we've sent them to our lab for further analysis.
Again, all 80 people on board surviving. At least 21 were injured, including a child. The injuries include back sprains, head injuries, and nausea. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Well, this brings us to our viewer poll today. With the recent incidents, will this change your travel plans? Yes, I'll avoid flying. No, I'll still fly, or depends on the situation. Went up about 1% from the 5 o'clock newscast of yes, I'll avoid flying. So over half of our voters, say that this will influence their traveling in the future. But if you have not voted, we do want to hear from you.
It just changed. Now it's 51 to 37.
Okay,
now it goes back and forth. Okay.
There you go. And then depends on the situation, increased a little bit too. So, but we want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have the latest numbers on 25 News Now at 10.
Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency claims it saved taxpayers billions of dollars, but the numbers don't add up. Doge's website says its efforts saved $55 billion, including $8 billion from a canceled contract. But that immigration and customs enforcement contract was only worth $8 million. Wednesday, Doge updated the contract's amount but kept the $55 billion total. Now, the agency has not admitted the error or explained how the error impacts its calculations. Doge also claims it canceled over 1,000 contracts and won't renew 97 government leases. Further layoffs and funding cuts to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau have been stopped for now.
But with the agency's work on hold by the Trump administration, consumer advocates are very concerned. Karen Kafa is in Washington with what cuts would mean for your money.
Since 2011, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says it's secured over $20 billion in relief for more than 200 million consumers.
If you're having trouble with your student lender and you made the payment and it's not showing up on your bill, you go to the CFPB. If you're a service member and you fall prey to a predatory loan, you go to the CFPB.
As part of its effort to slash the federal workforce, the Trump administration ordered the CFPB to stop work, stalling investigations, and suspending the effective dates of newly finalized consumer protections, like banning medical debt on credit reports, capping most credit card late fees at $8, and capping bank overdraft fees at $5. Last week, Senator Elizabeth Warren, who helped create the CFPB, asked Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell what the banking landscape might look like without it.
If the CFPB is not there examining these giant banks to make sure they are following the laws on not cheating consumers, who is doing that job?
I can say no other federal regulator.
No one.
Some Republicans argue state regulators can handle consumer complaints.
So to characterize that nobody's out there looking for consumers, I think, is inaccurate. And we ought not to try and scare consumers right now.
But consumer advocates like Adam Rust of the Consumer Federation of America say it's a massive job and could lead to an uneven response for consumers.
It really shouldn't be the case that your zip code determines how the law is enforced and supervised.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Quero Record. 20 Yorktown ISD teachers earn extra pay from the state. And DeWitt County Commissioners approved no tractor trailer signs at some locations in Precinct 1. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. We do have the weather alert up for tonight through Thursday, all crossroads counties. Sub-freezing temperatures for about 6 to 12 hours tonight, getting down as low as 23 in the neighborhood and maybe a wind chill of 8. Yeah, that's with a 30-35 mile an hour wind. The winds are going to settle down a little bit, but it's going to be very cold tonight. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. Get a load of the temperatures across the state at this moment. We are already at 32. It's 39 in San Antonio, but 25 in Dallas and 14 up in Amarillo. Of course, they're, halfway to the North Pole anyway. These temperatures now will be starting to drop. If the skies had cleared up, we'd really be looking at bitter cold, maybe even colder than originally forecast. But right now we're at 32. And of course, with the wind at 18 miles an hour, it feels like about 20 out there. So that's where the wind chill comes into effect. It's the temperature and the wind and how much heat is removed from your body. The 42 occurred about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then the 29 was right at sunrise. When you were walking out the door, you felt that cold wind blowing. Well, there's the wind as it is right now, so we're still in the 20 to 30 mile an hour range. However, that will be slowly decreasing as we get into tomorrow. Tomorrow, interestingly enough, we should see a little sun, but it'll still be bitter cold, and certainly in the morning hours, that's our biggest concern. So the dome of cold air has now pretty much affecting all of the country. Look at that, from the Canadian border down to the southern border. The big dome is in charge of the very brutal cold air out there. Now, of course, you know, it's cold enough for us, but it is even colder just to the north of us. This is tonight. We're down to 25 in the city. There could be some 22s, 23s around the neighborhood, depending on, you know, where you are with cold air drainage or with a breeze coming in off the water. Then tomorrow we'll be down to an even 32, and then Saturday we'll get up to 37, but this is kind of a rainy day that we're going to have to talk about in a minute. Sunday we actually start to thaw out a little bit. Monday and Tuesday is a warming trend. Yes, a warming trend. So again, watches and warnings all over the country, all the way down into our neighborhood. There you see the crossroads, and we're looking at freeze warnings for all this area in purple. This is a small craft advisory for the strong winds, and of course this is a bitter cold watch. Bitter cold temperatures expected for pretty much everybody north of our region. These are the forecast lows tonight. As you can see, we're looking at about a 25 for us, 28 in Corpus Christi, 27 in Houston, 23 in San Antonio, and up in San Angelo down to 13. I don't know, you know, 18 or 13, you know, it's already cold. Here's our temperatures forecast for tomorrow. We should get up to about 43, all right? That will help out. At least we're not staying below freezing, which would be a whole nother kind of problem. Now, as you can see on Future Tracker, the cloud deck does thin out, and then tomorrow it pulls away. So we're looking for a little bit of sun. I wish I could tell you it's going to thaw us out, but not much. But it's only for one day, because as we get to Friday, the Gulf air rolls back in, and that puts us in an overrunning pattern. What is that? Well, the Gulf air on top of a cold ground will give us a pretty good shot at getting rainfall around here on your Saturday. Now, that's your Saturday. I know it's your weekend, but it looks pretty sloppy here all over Texas on Saturday. By Sunday, however, that does pull away. And just to give you an idea of what's going on in the country, it's, let's see, 3 in Des Moines and 12 in Chicago. It could always be worse. So let's take a look at your forecast for Port Lavaca, down to an even 29 tonight and only up to 42 tomorrow. You will see a little bit of sun, a little bit more than we saw today. And 25 in Cuero is a low, and getting up to only 39 as a high temperature, even with a little bit of sun. It's just that northeast wind continues blowing, and that's the cold air coming in. So we have alert days because of the morning temperatures being below freezing. On Friday, we pick up a few clouds. On Saturday, it looks a little wet. And then on Sunday, we should start to clear, and we get a warming trend to about 80 degrees next week. Can you believe it? That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads a day on your phone. Here's Shawna.
All right, thanks, Mac. Well, now we send it over to Max Williams, and I think those weather temperatures are bouncing just about as much as these athletes that you're going to introduce us to.
That was a good one there, Shawna, because after the break, we're going to talk about Full Force Gym placing well at the mega meet there in Las Vegas. Find out how all these athletes did. Coming up in sports. All right, Crosshopes, hope everyone is staying warm here in this bitter cold that we're having here in the next couple days here in the state of Texas. But this evening here, because last night we had a lot of playoff basketball all over the Crossroads. Again, officially Tidehaven and Cuero women's basketball moving to the regional finals, and Bay City and men's hoops eventing in the second round versus La Feria Lions. But with all this hoops that are going on, one of the Lady Gobblers basketball players, the #1 Aubrey Bowles, got her 1,500 point in the regional semifinal game. There were Sinning Pirates there last night. She had 17 points in total in their win, and the Gobblers, they're not going to focus their attention in the Vero Panthers, like I mentioned, in the regional final. Still figuring out what day that will be. And staying with basketball, the Texas High School revealing their district-by-district awards, and a couple of shout-outs were named there for East and West women's basketball. First, with the first-team selections for Victoria West, they had Zy Morgan, Courtney Lacey, and Nisa Scott there get selections. And then for East, Avery Valentine and Cameron Jackson. Then for second-team honors, West there in Kirsten Kahn, and East had Celine Longoria and Kamari Clark. And then finally, not listed there again from that I mentioned from the screen that we could not get up there for a second, but it was honorable mentions up there in West and Tatum Boys and Elena Solis, and then East had Kyra Dedrick and Jazel Williams. So again, I will post a full web story about all these names there getting honored by district later on tonight. Now, enough basketball talk, right? Because we're getting into soccer action, because again, the first round of men's and women's soccer playoffs are again going to start in about a month from now. Here are the current standings for both men's and women's soccer as we speak. First, with women's soccer in 4A, Bay City Lady Cats lead the 4A region through with an 8-0-1 district record, and El Campo's in second at 6-1-1. Hallettsville Lady Brahmans are at 7-2, and Palacios and Calhoun are fighting in that #4 spot right now going into it. Then in 5A women's soccer, Victoria West and East are right now the top two seeds in the district, with Victoria West at 7-0 in district and East at 6-1. Now over to the men's standings. Same situation there in 4A. Bay City leads there with a 7-0-2 record. Calhoun and El Campo are tied there at the same record there, 2-3, 6-2-1 in district. And then in 5A men's soccer currently, we got West that is right now in second at 4-2-1, and East, they're battling to try to get into the playoffs if we ended here today, because they're at the #5 spot trying to get that #4 spot. So again, next Tuesday night, East and West battle there at Memorial Stadium, so we'll give you coverage for that game and a lot more soccer action coming up in the following week. So now over to full force gymnastics, where this past weekend they competed in the Las Vegas Mega Meet out there in Las Vegas, and they represented well there for Victoria, with Jada MacArthur getting gold medal in open elite trampoline. Also, Taylor Kuchar won gold on level 5 tumbling, with Corey Weinheimer winning gold on level 7 trampoline, and Harper Majewski there winning gold at level 6 double mini. So congrats to everyone that placed their full force. And tomorrow you'll hear from some of the gymnasts themselves there tomorrow night at 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. about how they felt there in Las Vegas. That's going to do it here in sports. Don and Shawna, back to you.
Max, thank you, and we're back in a moment. 2 first responders from Arizona saved a woman from a burning car on Tuesday. Finally tonight, some people back away from danger. Others, like Officer Brian Larison in Arizona, run into it. A truck had been hit by a cement mixer, rolled and caught fire. Larison ran towards it. He saw a woman trapped inside. Larison broke the window and got her out of the vehicle. Larson called the woman's husband, let her talk to him just to reassure him. The vehicle then became fully engulfed in fire. Larson also served in the military. He said he learned what to do there in an emergency. In this case, save a life. Look at that right there. There's a life saved by someone stepping up in there and saving her. Awesome, awesome.
That's incredible.
Great job, officer. Super, super job.
Yeah, a lot of people,
They don't
know what to do.
Yeah.
Or
What
they're
are
going to
you gonna do?
panic and then
Run
they
to
don't
a
know what's
fire?
happening.
No. Matt, can you do us a favor?
Yeah.
Can you transport us to that day next week where it's 80?
We're going to Aruba. Let's go to Aruba next week, folks. Everybody, come on, let's go. Tonight, unfortunately, not done. We're getting down to 25 degrees in the city. Tomorrow we'll see a little sun, but it'll only be 43 as a high temperature. Very cold, bitter cold tonight with that wind.
Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight at 10.